As one of the most dramatic examples of neoclassical architecture in the Federal Triangle, the Andrew W. Mellon Auditorium was built as the centerpiece connecting what is now known as the William Jefferson Clinton Federal Building. Designed by San Francisco architect Arthur Brown Jr., the building was completed in 1934 and has been the site of numerous historic events, including the signing of the North Atlantic Treaty. In 2022, the General Services Administration embarked on the building's first comprehensive restoration project in its 90-year history.
Because the space has been used heavily as a lease space for at least the last 30 years, it gets a lot of use. In general, it was certainly serviceable and usable, but it didn't really reflect the original grandeur of the space.
All surfaces were touched during the project, including repairing the walls and pillars, restoring marble wainscot, refinishing the original wood doors, repairing and painting the ceiling, as well as replacement of the non-original white oak strip flooring.
It's a unique space because they used a product called Sphinx stone. It was a product that was made in Washington, was short-lived, but it was made of a bound oyster shell.
This unique material required a unique intervention.
So John Canning Company, who were the conservators on the project, actually bought oyster shell packets that are used for feeding chickens.
And what I ended up ultimately doing is getting some coffee grinders, electric coffee grinders. And I'd fool around with it, and I'd run the coffee grinder with some of this oyster shell in it, and I'd pass it through different size sieves until we came up with the proper size for the repairs that we needed to do.
The Tennessee pink marble was cleaned and honed, with cracks at the bases of the columns carefully filled. The enormous amount of Dutch metal had to be regilded.
We gilded with Dutch metal, a zinc copper composite, imitation gold, if you will, and it was just monumentous how much there was. I think we used well over 400 boxes of imitation gold.
The white oak flooring, which was installed in 1998, was replaced. A new quarter-sawn white oak floor totaling 14,500 square feet was installed throughout the auditorium.
This is the largest ornamental wood floor in Washington, D.C., if not the country. A massive room. It's 4 times bigger than the East Room in the White House. And it's a pattern floor. So you had no room for error. No room for error. We use old school and new school methods. New school being cutting edge technology with lasers, and old school with like braided fishing line. When you can combine old school and new school in craftsmanship, there's no stopping you.
With the project completed in 2023, the Mellon Auditorium reopened, aptly with an opening reception for the National Trust for Historic Preservation's annual conference.
Almost every single person that walks in this auditorium, they take about 15, 20 steps and they stop, and they're at all. They look around, they look at the floor, they look at the ceiling, they look at these massive columns, and it's the same expression. They're just looking around, they're like, this is pure architecture. This is a piece of American history.